development. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Spirit Speaker KC podcast. I am psychic medium Jamie Collins, and tonight we have a guest. I thought it would be a little fun to talk about tonight developing your mediumship. As I've talked about before, I get inquiries all the time from people about what should I do? What do I need to do? How should I go about it? And so I thought I'd have Megan on because Megan Tinajero was one of my first students, you might say. If you remember, in June of 2021, I started a mediumship development circle for people who were interested in developing their skills, interested in seeing where they could go with their mediumship, and needed a place to practice, needed a place to study. And Megan was one of the very first ones in that class. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Megan, um, the only person who started in June of 2021 to today. So I'd like to welcome Megan Tinajero to the podcast, and we're going to have a good discussion about mediumship. Welcome, Megan.
Thank you, Jamie, for having me on the podcast. I've been watching religiously every episode.
I pay her, y'all. I pay her. Yeah.
But yeah. So I mean, I'm happy to be here. That's
Well,
it.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm glad you're here. I hope people don't think you're my favorite or anything like that. So
I
they're like,
am.
they'll be like, why me? But truly, the reason is because you started out. I've told the story before about how I would take classes all over the United States. It seems like there was never anything in Kansas City. And so people would take classes and then they would say, now what? Where do I go? And that's what made me want to start the development circle. But before we do that, tell people a little bit about. I always like to start about little Megan. You're a little girl. How did your spiritual life begin? When you were in elementary school, high school, were you into that? Tell us a little bit about how it started for you.
Okay. So I had a couple of experiences. Like I saw shadow people in my dad's house in Grain Valley growing up, and then um, I was always a little bit more sensitive, I noticed, to other people's emotions. And so that was kind of a beginner, but like I haven't been talking to dead people since I was little. I wasn't one of those.
Yeah.
But I did. What's funny is, and looking back now, I love the Addams family. Like I was fascinated with aliens and,
Mm-hmm.
um, all things ghost stories. And, I just loved all of that naturally. So I think, and I had discovered it on movies, but I guess I never really applied it or thought it was a real thing until my 30s. So that's
Mm.
maybe kind of a different story than some other people.
Right.
So really, I mean, I didn't have a whole lot of mystical experiences,
Okay.
when I was younger. Yeah.
What do you mean by shadow people? When you say in your dad's house, you think that house was spirit filled?
Yeah, I think, and it scared me. So I was really, really little, and one of my first memories is seeing the silhouette out of the corner of my eye
Mm,
and like looking, doing the double take thing.
right, right.
And it scared me. And there were some other things at that house that make me think that it was spirit filled. Like I would have
Okay.
a reoccurring nightmare, and there was this closet that freaked me out. So there were
Yeah.
other things in that house, particularly, and but I saw shadow people twice,
Okay.
and it was like, if you're looking down a hallway and you see somebody just dart from one end to the other. So
Whoa.
it scared me.
Right, right. Yeah, I
And so
bet.
I think I fall into the category of shutting it down and
Okay.
to where it lies dormant,
Right,
for a long time and then
right.
gets reactivated later in life. I think
Okay.
that was, yeah, kind of how my story went.
Wow. So tell us about, so how did you one hear about the development circle? What at that point of your life, I mean, where were you? Had you had any mediumship classes? Had you read any books? What was it? How did you get led to the circle, and or what made you want to get involved in the development circle?
So that same year in April 2021, I was kind of already going through a spiritual awakening.
Mm.
And what started it was TikTok, which is so weird to
Oh,
say.
wow.
I saw a video on the gateway process, the study that the CIA
Uh-huh.
did back
Uh-huh.
in the 80s.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know, something about it being written out in plain English from the government. I was just like, holy crap. So then I kind of went through this phase of like redefining what was real to me. And
Hmm.
then coincidentally, 2 months later, my friend invited me to a mediumship development circle, and because she had gotten a reading from you,
Oh, okay.
and she was a real close friend of mine. And yeah, so she invited me, but then bailed on me at the last moment.
Oh
And so I
gosh.
was like, I already paid, I'm just gonna go. And I just, what I tell everybody is the feeling that I felt when I first went, you
Hmm.
know. It was like, oh my God, this is what I've been looking for. I don't know. It
Oh,
just felt like it was for me. I don't know. Eh,
wow.
and so I was like, oh, I'm going to keep coming to this until it stops. You know what I mean? And it's fascinating, and it fulfills me. And now I think it wasn't a coincidence,
Yeah.
that those two things happened
Yeah.
within the couple of months, and now I have my business. I own my own business. So here we are.
Did your friend ever come? The friend that bailed, did she ever start coming back
Nope.
after you told her about it?
Uh-uh.
Wow, it
Nope.
was. That's really cool. That's really
Yeah.
cool. It was meant for you.
Yeah. And you want to know something funny is we were very close growing up, like 20-year friendship, right? Her dad passes unexpectedly, and
Uh-huh.
she goes to you to get a reading. And that's
Oh,
how, and then she must have seen you advertise for the workshop or
right,
circle,
right.
and then, I mean, I think she was planning on going, but then never did. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Okay. Well, we owe it all to your friend telling you about it. So
I
yeah,
know,
because
I
you
know.
hadn't even heard about it. It was through the friend. So yeah, there we always say there are no coincidences. So
Yeah.
that's great. So tell people if there are people watching, they're been curious about their mediumship, wanting to develop their mediumship. Let's kind of take it step by step. So you begin the circle. At this point, are you familiar with anything? Had you heard of mediumship? Did you know what mediumship was?
See, this is funny. I think it was a disconnect in my brain because I loved the movie Ghost, You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Yeah.
Which depicts mediumship.
Yeah.
And but I guess I didn't realize it was like a real thing. I don't know.
Ah.
And when she invited me, didn't really know what I was showing up for either, to be honest.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. I was just
And
like, I don't know what this is, but I'm gonna show up and see what it's
okay.
all about." So, no, I had no idea.
Okay. So you
And
hadn't, besides Hollywood or the movies, you hadn't read books. You really came in on the ground floor without knowing anything.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I knew I was already starting to like I guess, how do you describe a spiritual awakening? I always describe it as redefining what was real to me.
Okay.
So I was already opening my consciousness
Uh-huh.
in certain ways, right?
Okay.
And like connecting, I was getting curious about spirit guides, and the gateway process is all about like out of body
Yeah.
experiences.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I started meditating right around then too. So it
Ah.
all happened at once. It all happened at
Okay.
once. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So I know it's hard to put it all, but in 4 years, so let's take that first year. You've been doing it for 4 years now. The development circle's been going on for 4 years. Tell us about that first year. So we've got someone out there. They're thinking about the development, the mediumship development circle, or whatever their gifts may be. What's one of maybe two or three things you would tell them about beginning that journey of mediumship? What was that first year like for you?
I don't know if you remember this, but the first day I came to the circle, do you remember the question I asked you?
No, are you kidding me? I don't know what I had for lunch yesterday. That's a question from 4 years ago, y'all. She's trying to give me right. Yeah, right. No, I don't remember. I
You barely
don't.
remember my name sometimes.
Exactly. Exactly.
No,
No.
I said, the only question I asked was, I think it was like, "What if we can't do that?" Or, "What if I can't do this?" You know, because you were
Mm,
throwing us in the fire the
yes.
first night. You were
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, you're gonna split up and do readings," and and I was like, "Wait, one question, what if we can't do that?" So I think, for the people just beginning, you're gonna think you're making it up at first. You just are. You're just
Yeah.
gonna get people really get in their heads, and especially if you're an adult, then you're really gonna have a hard time with like, well, I did, with believing what you're receiving is coming from somewhere else and not your mind, right?
Mm, yeah.
So I guess my advice would be to keep going, because at this point I've had enough experiences
Hmm.
that it's undeniable, right?
Right. Right.
So in the beginning, it's all very exciting, and am still fascinated by it,
Yeah.
but it very much was like that in the beginning. I was very excited, and then I got books and wanted to learn
Right.
everything I could about it, right?
Right. Right.
But I think for what I would tell, a first timer is to keep going
Okay.
and meditate, meditate, meditate.
Yeah.
That's what I would say. Um, and explore with like a childlike openness and curiosity,
Yeah.
you know?
I think one of the things that I'm a big believer in, and I talk about this all the time, is and one of the things that I like people to know about you is the dedication to showing up week after week after week. Because if you remember at the beginning of Development Circle, we had it weekly.
Did we?
Yes, we had Circle weekly, and it was maybe, I don't know, a year ago, a year and a half ago, we decided to go to every other week. But we were going weekly, and people out there, I tell you, Megan showed up week after week after week. And so we talk about whether it's mediumship or playing the piano or there's a sport you love. I don't care what it is. You have to show up. You have that discipline to be dedicated. So I really feel like kudos to you because I know how much it meant to you because you showed up time after time. And I really think people have to really be dedicated to it. Was it ever a struggle for you to constantly show up, or did you love it that much you wanted to show up?
It was both. I mean, I have kids, I
Yeah,
made sacrifices. I'm missing my daughter's softball practice tonight. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah,
And I've been super, super lucky that my whole family has been incredibly supportive and
yeah.
understanding. But yes, it was because I loved it so much, and I was fascinated by it, and I felt like I had discovered my purpose. Now, I
Mm.
don't think that that's going to be mediumship is going to be that for everyone,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah,
And I don't think everyone who wants to strengthen their skills in mediumship should open their own business like I did.
yeah.
I just think that that was for me. I
Right.
had found my purpose. And so I wanted to, learn as much as I could about it. But yeah, definitely had to sacrifice and, thunderstorms and
Yep.
ice and,
Yep. Yep.
we did,
Yeah.
we showed
That,
up.
that's
So
phenomenal. And I think that's paid off as we'll talk about as we go along why you are where you are now because it's those baby steps. It doesn't, I think sometimes people take classes or they watch a video or read a book and then they're ready to hang their sign up and say, I'm a professional medium. But what they don't understand is like you've dedicated 4 years of your life to it. Your business didn't just, oh, after 6 months, I'm a professional medium. I think people see the end result and they don't think about the journey that it's taken you to get where you are. So it's like you earned that, you sacrificed and earned it. What were
yeah.
some of someone's wanting to develop? What when you think back to your journey, this 4 year journey, what's been some of the biggest challenges that you've come across in mediumship in your development? Is it, one you mentioned was believing you can do it. What, when you think about it, what were some of the challenges that you had? Because I had that same thought myself when my discovery, can I do this? Is it real? Do I really believe this? What's been some challenges for you?
So in the beginning, I remember it's kind of funny. In the beginning, I remember being very uncomfortable with sitting across from someone and just being quiet, just silent. It was very awkward. I think I've gotten so used to that now that I
Mm.
could just sit and stare at someone and we could just stare at each other for minutes and be totally fine, or I
uh,
would. They
yeah,
might be very uncomfortable. But
yeah.
yeah, just the awkwardness of, sitting across from someone while either they're trying to give me a reading or me sitting and waiting for the
Hmm.
next, thing, the next
Uh-huh.
impression,
Right.
trusting that they're going to be there every time I did it. Um, what are some other so developmentally, it was like a zigzag. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's not a straight up.
Right.
It's definitely up, down, sideways, um,
Yeah.
twirl around, touch your toes. It's like
Right.
crazy.
Yeah.
So I think I think if I could now I've made it to the point where if I have a bad reading, I don't question whether I can do this. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like, finally, I
Yeah.
can say that I know I'm still a good medium if I have a crappy reading. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
But it took 4 years to get
Right.
there. Like,
Right.
I went through a lot of questioning, like, should I even be doing this? You
Yeah.
know? And but I think that was part of the growth too.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the best teacher is experience, is just
Yeah.
doing it again, do it
Yeah.
again. And I don't know what else. Oh, it was interesting when we started doing intuitive exercises and my intuition really flowered. And I just was not expecting that. That was like a whole other layer that I didn't even know existed.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
And then, so that was incredible. and,
Yeah.
and I don't know, I guess just meeting other people and like learning how to read other people and different kinds of people,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know,
It
experience
is. It's
all of that.
That's what the development circle, what I love about it is being around those like-minded people. I
Yeah.
think sometimes in life we can walk around in our own bubble and we think we're the only one that thinks that or believes this. And then when you get together with a group of people, like-minded individuals, you find your tribe, and that even helps it more explode early in your development or as you're developing. Did you have to come out of the closet with your mediumship? Did you ever find yourself hiding? Oh, I can't tell people I believe in talking to dead people. Or or were you pretty open with it when you first started?
No, I was very secretive.
Ah, okay.
I
Okay.
I um I grew up religious, and
Okay.
so um I told my family first, obviously, but even I didn't tell my kids for a little bit.
Oh, wow. Oh, I
Because,
didn't know that.
I didn't raise them in the church because
Hmm.
I was so heavily raised in the church,
Uh-huh.
and
Uh-huh.
so my husband and I both decided not to raise our children in the church. Well, so then I was like, "Oh my gosh, now I'm gonna introduce this other belief system
Mm.
to them," and the implications of that,
Right.
and, telling my dad was another hurdle,
Ah,
uh, because he's a preacher, like, and,
ah.
it was fine, and in fact, my kids ratted me out to my dad before before I got a chance to tell.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
So when I was telling him, he was like, "I know."
Oh my
And
gosh.
yeah, so
Did he have
and
the support of dad? Did he support it? Was he against it?
no, he does not support it.
Okay.
And yeah, he made a comment about maybe being embarrassed, which kinda hurt my
Oh,
feelings.
okay.
But, so yeah, having to deal with that, but
Yeah.
I mean, he still loves me and we still
Right,
talk,
right,
and, it's just he's evangelical, he's
okay.
got his belief systems,
Right.
and it says in the Bible that mediums are the devil or whatever,
Yeah,
so.
yeah. Okay. Yeah, yeah. No, I love that. I was wondering, I get it because I find that a lot of people who are beginning the spiritual journey, or at least in mediumship anyway, is hard to really. I remember when I first really started studying this and believing in this, I didn't tell people. I was in the closet because I didn't want people to think, oh, I'm crazy or this is woo woo. I grew up in
Right.
the church, not hardcore. My mom, we went to church, but I remember that. That's why I was curious if you were out, but I was the same way. And then you get to a point where you don't care if people don't agree with it. That's fine. It's okay.
Yeah, yeah, and I was like, um, that that actually says more about you.
Yeah.
Talking about my dad, you know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
It actually says more about you than it does
Yeah.
about me,
Yeah. Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I understand where he's coming from. I respect his beliefs,
Yes.
and I know people do have some fear around it
Yeah.
still, especially with the religious stuff, but it was bigger than me.
Yeah.
I felt deeply. that I was supposed to follow this. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
I wasn't going to ignore that just because my dad might be embarrassed.
Yeah.
You know what I
That's
mean?
so cool. Yeah. No, it was your journey and you took it. What are some of the things that we talked about being with like-minded people? What are some of the reasons that you think people, if there's someone out there on the fence about exploring their mediumship or psychic abilities or whatever, what are some of the positives you think, the good things that they will get out of it?
Yeah, I mean, community is so important.
Yeah.
Community is so important, especially when it comes to things that aren't, mainstream,
Yeah.
I guess. I think the best part about the people and the is the support. It's
Yeah.
the non-judgmental. You can
Yeah.
say, I believe in aliens and nobody's gonna look at you weird. It's like the
Right.
weirdo club and
Right.
everybody's accepted.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I love about it. I thought what was really interesting too about it is how mediumship, especially when you're around those like-minded people and as you're studying, I don't know, you seem to get a confidence about it, like you said, sitting across from people from all different walks of life, um, knowing that you're helping people, healing people. I'm sure you've had it. I've had it, that they've gotten more from a reading with me than they have with their therapist or counselor. Doesn't mean I'm better. I'm not tooting my own horn. It's just different. And I think mediums can offer something that sometimes therapy or counseling can't offer. It's just different. Doesn't mean it's better. It's just different. Have you experienced that?
Yeah, I've had some people who have said that I've changed their lives.
Yeah,
And and it's not just them. It's sometimes I'm talking to myself while
yeah,
I'm giving a reading.
yeah.
I believe that we grow and learn and heal as we're helping others grow and learn and heal.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah,
like twofold. And yeah, I think it's amazing. I think it offers, especially for those people, who would never have shown up in an environment like this,
yeah,
to get insights and sometimes closure from their loved ones is
yeah,
amazing, you
yeah.
know?
It's not like I still remember you because it was where, as you kind of just started the development circle, and everybody out there, Megan would, one of the things when we would do practice readings, I remember Megan would sit there quietly for, like, we were doing practice readings for like 30 seconds, a minute and a half. I'd be like, Megan, you have to talk. Megan, you have to say something. It is, you're right. It's not a staring contest. You have to say something. And it's like, I'm a proud mama bear. Just, I think what's really cool with you and other people who've been in the circle for years, because besides you, we've had some people that have been there for quite some time. You're just the only one who was there at the very beginning to now. But we've had others in the group that have been there for 2 or 3 years. And it's just amazing to sit back and watch the growth, the development. And I think what I've loved about yourself, one of the things is how you were patient, because it can be very exciting and you want to give readings to people, you want to go professional. But what I've liked is how you have been patient with it. You've come into your own from sitting there quiet for a minute or a minute and a half, waiting for spirit to say something or sense something, to now being able to give those readings and get in your flow. So I love that about you. So I would always tell anybody who's out there thinking about it, don't worry if you come in and I throw you into the fire, because if you join Circle, I'm going to throw you into the fire. And that just means the first night you're there, you're probably going to be giving readings. And it's scary, like Megan said. It's scary that first time. What if this doesn't work? What if spirit doesn't say anything or I don't feel anything? So Megan has gone from attending development circle, and the next step she moved up to working metaphysical events or metaphysical fairs. Tell people what that's been like, transitioning from development circle to working events.
So events are not for the weak. um, but I love them. I love doing them, and but I think I just love mediumship. I think I
Yeah,
just love it, you
yeah,
know.
yeah.
And so, let's see.
What was
So
the
fair,
challenge about the fairs? What makes it challenging for people who
yeah.
don't know about metaphysical events? When you're in a class, you're given a reading, maybe two, to a classmate. What makes a fair more challenging?
So the energy is crazy. There's lots of people around you, and they're all doing their own readings, their own
Hmm.
things. And then you got people walking by, and you've got announcements, and you've got, people standing by your table having their own conversations. So there's lots going on, and it's your endurance has to be where
Oh,
it
yeah.
needs to be to maintain connection with spirit for hours, you
Yes.
know?
Yes.
And so the fairs are not for everyone. I
Yeah.
don't think,
That's true.
some people probably wouldn't like doing it.
That's true.
Um, it's a lot. And some of them are 3 days,
Yeah.
and so from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m.,
Yeah.
you are there giving readings. And so you have to be focused, and you have to have endurance.
Yeah.
And the only way you get endurance, in my opinion, is by meditating,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, and the experience,
Oh, yeah.
of
Yeah.
being able to focus in on what you're doing while there's a bunch of noise, you
Right.
know.
Yeah.
Mhm.
How
Yeah.
did you develop your practice? So besides development circle, I don't want everybody to think it was just development circle, but what did you do to help yourself prepare besides circle for the fairs? Did you give readings to friends? Did you practice whenever you could? How did you get that development outside of the development circle?
Oh, yeah. Okay. So I did lots of courses. I took courses from Amy Bolesky, Andy Bing, um, Sage Gwendolyn is another one. She was a more Akashic records and other
Okay.
esoteric
Okay.
topics, like inner children and all of that.
Okay.
I got my own past life regression and QHHT. I also got attuned for Reiki level 1 and 2. I forgot that
Okay.
I did
Uh-huh.
that.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
so I was in the beginning, I was really, like, researching and going down different rabbit holes and, like, trying to see what else there was out there,
Right.
right? But
Right.
nothing ever really stuck with me like mediumship did.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I just cultivated that with practice. And it's so funny that you said that you thought I was patient, because I think if we asked my spirit guides, they would say the opposite. Because I would go, okay, what's next? And they'd be like, practice. I'd be like, okay, what's next? And they'd be like, practice. And
Yeah.
at one point, I was like, if you tell me to practice one more time, I am going to flip my shit. You know? Like,
Right, right, right. I get. So did
so
you practice with friends, family? Did you again, did you how did you practice learn how you work besides circle? Would people be open to letting you have give them readings?
So not so much with family.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
But I did with friends. I had a girls group that we would meet
Okay.
every month and I would give them readings. It was like
Okay.
4 of them. And then you set me up with practice people a few
Okay.
times.
Yeah.
So I've read your people a few times.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then, um, let's see. And then, so now I'm out at my 9 to 5 job.
Okay.
Everybody kind of knows that I'm the weird medium girl that can talk to computer
Good for you. Good for you.
and so every once in a while, I'll get the urge, like I need to practice. And so I'll go there and be like, anybody want to practice? And I've actually read a lot of people at work now.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, good. Good. And that practice, that developing, is what helps people get ready for those fairs. Because you've got to have those practice sessions. You've got to have that practice the same way playing the piano or the tennis tournament. You got to practice tennis before you go to the tournament. You got to practice piano before the recital. So I think practice is really important. And that's what I like about one, you're exploring. I tell people all the time, explore, and to be patient. But I find, to me, this is just for me, everybody out there, is patience. I tell people all the time, before I ever worked or a fair, I was like Megan. I had been studying, practicing, taking classes for 3 years. So, it wasn't something I took a class on a weekend and I was hanging up my sign after that. It really was to being patient. And it's like you said, you ask your guides, how did you know when it was time that you were ready to go professional? Because now you have Healing Across Dimensions, is the name of your business. How did you know?
So that's funny. I think I knew from the very moment I discovered mediumship. I think I
Mm,
knew.
that you
Yeah,
were
I
going
think
to
I
have
was
a
like,
business?
I think I knew that I was going to do this for the rest of my life.
Okay.
So I'll
Okay.
put that out there. I didn't necessarily know that I was going to start my own business, but I
Okay.
was like, oh, I'm going to do this. This is what I'm doing.
Okay.
I was just passionate and dedicated and fascinated. I couldn't get enough of it. It was like a
Right.
hunger, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I think, yeah, a little bit, maybe like 2 years in,
Okay.
I was like, I could actually do this. Maybe I could do this for a living. And
Okay.
the idea was floating in my sphere. And I mean, I have a really close relationship with my guides. So, I was asking them like for signs if I meant to open my own business.
Yeah.
And I was communicating with them like that. And so I was getting feedback, external, validation.
Right.
And one night, what's funny is how I came up with the name. One night I was talking about with my husband about how not only was it healing for the person receiving the reading, that it was healing for the spirit too.
Hmm.
And I was like, it's like healing across dimensions. And Juan was like, that's what you should call it. I was like, yeah, yeah.
Oh,
And
that's
so that's where it
cool.
came
That
from.
that's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think what's also important, that a big thing I stress to people, is that the development, just because your development circle, you've taken classes, now you're working fairs and a professional medium, that development does not stop. I tell y'all, the class, all the time. I tell everyone, I'm continuously learning, continuously taking classes, because I don't believe there's a finish line to developing my mediumship. And like you, I love it. I'm obsessed with it. I love working for and with spirit. But I think a big thing is, and I have found this out, there are mediums out there that won't study, take classes. They're like, spirit is my teacher. And while I agree with that, I do, I still believe that development is important and that there is no finish line for it. Would you agree with that as you've kind of began this journey?
Absolutely. I think you are always learning and it's always changing. And as soon as I feel like I have a handle on something, it changes again. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah,
Or I discover a way that I could improve. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yes,
Um, I mean, you could just do the bare minimum, I
yeah,
guess.
yeah. You
I
could,
guess
yeah,
because I learn something every time I do a reading. And I'm sure
absolutely.
yeah,
Oh, oh, yeah,
every time you learn something. So you could, but why not, try and be the best at what you're doing? I mean, it's your job, right?
right, right.
So I take it seriously. And I think anything that's anybody's actively trying to be successful at, you have to just keep refining,
Yeah.
you know?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. I always tell people people know I'm a sports fanatic, and so I tell people the top athletes in the whole world continuously are trying to get better, and they can be the best in whatever sport it is that they're playing in, but they're constantly improving, constantly wanting to get better, constantly developing, trying something different. I hear Patrick Mahomes, quarterback of the Chiefs, talk about getting better every day, every year. And we're looking at him like he's the best there is. Well, how do you need to get better? And I feel like that way with mediumship, you can always get better. Don't be afraid to um, um, improve yourself. And I think that's something that you have done as well. You've kept improving, kept studying, and I hope beginning mediums out there, experienced mediums, understand how much you can grow in your mediumship by just continuing to learn from different teachers. I don't want people to just learn from me. I don't learn from one teacher. I've probably had 10 or 15 different mediumship teachers over the course of a decade. And so I'm a believer that always continue learning, not just from me. In fact, if you're learning just from me, I'm going to suggest other people to you. I really think that's important.
Yeah. Yeah. And everybody's going to teach it differently, you
Yes.
know?
Yes.
So it couldn't hurt, right? It's
Right.
just going to make you a more well-rounded medium, I
Yep.
think.
Yeah.
Yeah. And everybody's got their own, you know, um, strengths and weaknesses,
Yep.
right?
Yep. That's right.
And not everybody's going to be the best teacher for you,
Yep.
you know?
Absolutely. So
So, yeah.
where can people, if they'd like to get a reading with you, how would they reach out to you? What's the best way to contact you for a reading?
So you can visit my website. It's healingacrossdimensions.net. And I'm on all of the social media. Facebook is Healing Across Dimensions LLC, I think. And Instagram, TikTok. TikTok is under Megan Tinajero. So,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Website's the best way. Yeah.
Okay. And you're seeing clients, people can book with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Any last words you want to give for those folks out there that are maybe hesitant about beginning this journey of mediumship, or any words of encouragement, anything that you'd like to finish with for those that are on the fence out there?
Okay. Well, there's nothing to be afraid of. I think that would be the first thing. It's, there's nothing to be afraid of. And I think a lot of people nowadays get social anxiety. They don't want to go and sit in a group of people that they don't know.
Yeah.
But I have to say, it's the best group of people.
Yeah.
It's the most open and non-judgmental group of people that you will ever meet. So, try it, see if you like it.
Yeah.
I think the best advice that I could give is to follow your excitement, follow your curiosity.
Yeah.
because there's a reason you have that. It's not a coincidence.
Yeah, I I totally agree. Friendships have developed out of development circle. When I've had classes, friendships have developed. So I would recommend anybody get a reading from Megan. She's put in that journey of discovery in her mediumship. I've seen it from the very beginning until now, so I'm a believer. If you're on the fence out there, or you're really thinking about your mediumship, the circle, the development circle, which you can find out info at my website, spiritspeakerkc.com. Like Megan said, just try a class. I've had people come in, try one class, never see them again, or people come in and try a class and I can't get rid of them. So that's really good as well. But development takes time. I'll just end with that. Development takes time. Go at your own pace. There is no right or wrong or how fast. The only thing I ever think of as wrong is if someone takes a class and then they say they're a professional medium. But Megan, I want to thank you for coming on tonight and kind of giving people a view of what the developing medium looks like, who's now a professional medium, what that journey looks like. I want to thank you for hanging in there for 4 years. My gosh, she's done it. And we've got several others in the group who've been 3 years,
Yeah.
2 years, as we've talked about before, a woman who drives from Springfield,
Yeah.
6 hours round trip. So it's a great place to begin. Thank you for joining the podcast. People, you can reach me at my website, my YouTube channel, like and subscribe, also on Spotify. And I will see you next time.
Thanks, Jamie.
Thank you.
Bye.